Touchdown Tampa Bay, you're listening to the Pewtercast.
Welcome to the Pewtercast. I am Brent Allen, your host, and we are right here in the middle of preseason for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, really the NFL as a whole, but we don't talk about the rest of them. We just talk about our beloved Buccaneers. Training camp is now over, but I'm not here to talk about this alone. I've got my good buddy Ren. I'm going on vacation. Dax, Ren, how's it going since the end of the 2019 edition of Ren's Training Camp Journal?
It's going pretty slow. I don't have to put out a pod every day or every other day or every 2 days. It's always bittersweet for that to end. Somewhere around episode 6, 7, I'm like, okay, like how many more do I have to do? Because I'm at practice like every day. I think I had 2 days, had quote unquote 2 days off, but I was at One Buck or Advent Health Training Center every single day for like 2.5 weeks, except for like 2 days.
Right.
So it starts to get a little bit of a grind, but I'm like I said, I'm bittersweet. I'm happy it's over. But did you know that one of my episodes made top 50 of all football podcasts?
I did know that. I did because I just told you that a few minutes ago. It did because turns out there's a new tracking system out there, and turns out, Ren, did you know that the Pewtercast as a whole is in the top 150 football podcasts in the United States of America on Apple Podcasts?
You know what? I did know that.
Really?
Yeah, because like you're going to ruin my surprise.
Oh.
I'm going to ruin your surprise. Oh. You just told me that.
I did. It's true. Hey, and listen, I think that's awesome. So we're actually...
Yeah, that's surprising, a little humbling. I mean, we're not going up against Nancy Grace. But,
right.
Of all football podcasts, I know of, I've got 10, 15, 20 that I listen to. So, and that's either, and it's just a couple of national people, mostly it's Buck stuff. So just imagine how many football podcasts are out there.
Yeah. And we're in the top 150. So we'll track that throughout the season, let y'all know as we go up and down. And, who knows, maybe we'll crack the top 100 this year. That'd be something.
That would be something.
Well, Red, enough about that. Why don't we go ahead and get into today's episode? We just had preseason game number 2. We were not able to have an instant cast. Right. I was traveling. I had family stuff. Boy was in a karate tournament, and I was traveling and took my mobile bag with me, but I wound up leaving it on the table here at the house. And so that whole thing got messed up, and then we tried to figure out another way to do it, and that didn't work in the moment while I was at the hotel. So we just had to skip that whole part. But here we are now, Ren, fresh, rewatched the game, ready to talk about it in detail, instant cast style.
Absolutely not.
No. We will not be doing that. No. Because honestly, we're this far past the game, I don't care anymore.
And no one else does either.
No. And so we're not going to subject our listeners to that. We're not going to subject ourselves to having to talk about that. But, Ren, there are some things that did come out of the game that I do think are worth talking about.
Yeah, there were some questions that were raised after the game. You're like, okay, well, now I have questions about this position and that position and that guy and this guy.
Right, and you could say more questions were raised than were answered coming out of this game.
Well, yeah. I think it'll be opposite for the Browns game. Because,
sure.
We'll actually get at least some answers with the starters.
Right. So we'll be going through that today, but before that, we're going to kick it off with a bit of major news, Ren. Major news surrounding the organization.
We've been sitting on this a long time.
Like since January 6th or something.
I don't have it in front of me right now, the exact date.
Yeah. It was early. It was early. But we finally now that the cat's out of the bag, I guess we can talk about it. So, yeah, we'll talk about that. So, that is going to be fun. So, Ren, why don't we go ahead and get into that conversation? That and more is all coming up on today's episode of The Pewtercast. With popular podcasts like Serial and Netflix documentaries like Making a Murderer, it's no surprise that audiences are obsessed with true crime. And if that's you, then you definitely need to check out Hunt a Killer. Hunt a Killer is a murder mystery box that immerses you in an ongoing experience. With every delivery or episode, you will dive deeper and deeper into the case, sifting through piles of documents, evidence, audio recordings, case files, eliminating suspects until you finally crack the case and catch the killer. Now, you might have heard Ren and I discussing this on a previous episode of the Pewtercast, but let me tell you, after playing my first box, I could not wait to get my hands on the second box and try to continue solving this murder. It really is a whole lot of fun. In fact, my wife, who didn't actually want to hunt a killer with me at first, saw the box and everything that was inside and how real this entire thing feels, and she made me start over so that she could catch up. The evidence and clues are things that you actually put your hands on. Video and audio footage you actually see and hear. In our first box, there was a yearbook, there was a koozie, there was a map, evidence bags filled with stuff. I can't even tell you what's there because I don't want to spoil anything for you. I love this game.
Welcome back,
and
to
that's
the
why I'm
Pewtercast.
so glad that we were able
This
to hook
is
up
going
with
to be a fun episode, Ren.
huntakiller.com to
It's
give
a
you
little
guys
buck in the
a special
news.
offer. Right
I
now,
think,
just go to
although it's not really that
huntakiller.com
time
and sign
of
up
week
and
for
use
this,
the
but
word
there certainly is a
Pewtercast
lot,
for
but
20%
let's go ahead and
off
dive
your
into
first
sort of
box.
the big news.
Again,
I think
make sure to
news
use the
that got
code
a lot of Bucks
Pewtercast.
fans
That's all
talking
one
over
word
the weekend.
for
There was a
20%
report
off
that was
discount
released. I
and to
don't
show your
know who
support
necessarily
for the
had it first. I
Pewtercast.
feel like probably
See if you
came
have
to
what it
the
takes to
time
solve the
did.
murder of Charlie McDonough
Rick
before
Stroud.
I do,
Was it
which is
Stroud?
the newest
Yeah,
case
it
in the Hunt a
figures
Killer
it would probably be
series.
him. Reporting that Jason Light got an extension, and not just any old extension, a 5-year extension.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a 4-year extension with a 5th-year club option to pick up,
Right.
which sounds eerily similar to another person's contract that was just signed earlier this year.
Yeah.
4-year deal with a 5th-year option to pick up. So, and I'm not talking about a player. But Jason Light gets extended. A lot of fans. It was interesting watching Buck's social media, and I was kind of in and out of it throughout those first couple of days, just with everything else I had going on. But like the first group was losing their ever-loving minds. Like, why? This is why this franchise is in the toilet. This is horrible. Why Glazers? Why? Why Glazers? Why? And then like 24 hours, like the whole other contingent of people came out going, I understand why. That was a good move, Glazers. I get it. It was really amazing the difference between the first 24 hours and the second 24 hours.
The people that don't think about it, and then the people that do think about it.
Uh-huh.
You know,
And-
it's like it's popping off, and then it's
Right.
like, well, okay, why did they do this?
Sure.
Let me think about it for a second.
Right.
And you think what?
Me? I mean, Ren, we've been sitting on this for 8 months now. I mean, we've known that
True.
this is, and you know how it's not necessarily that we had any inside information. It's just when they signed BA, we knew this is what was happening.
And we had insider information.
Well, I can't, we're not allowed to say that, Ren.
Unnamed source, Brent.
Oh,
That's the way
okay.
it
Yeah,
works.
we have an unnamed source inside the building. You know, text us, let us know, all those things. No, listen, man. I mean, look, here's the deal. If Jason Light is part of the package for BA to come out of retirement, like,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I think I'm sorry. I think Jason Light has. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me back up. We have said on this podcast before, banded about the idea: is Jason Light the best GM in Buccaneers history?
Right.
Now it's been a long time since we've had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But you did a thing where you're like, hey, he's turned over 90 some odd % of the roster.
Mm-hmm.
There's now only one person left over from pre-Jason Light era. Is that right?
No,
It's
there's
just
three.
DeMar Dotson, right?
No, it's David and Golston.
That are
And
pre-Jason Light?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah. Okay. Because Mike Evans, I think, was Light's first.
Yeah, his first draft.
Yeah. So fine. So those guys, but it's not many. But he's turned over
No,
like
out
a
of
big chunk of the
53,
roster.
3 is not many.
Right. And when you look at the roster that he's assembled, like on paper, the roster looks good. It's just never really materialized or done well. Yes, there have been draft flubs, but there's been some draft home runs. There's been some free agent flubs, but there's been some free agent home runs. I am not ready to christen him the best GM that the Bucks have ever had. And I'm not there yet. It's possible that we could find that out here in the next 10 years.
I think we're going to find out this year. All those people that popped off early. When December rolls around, they're either going to be right or they're going to be wrong.
Sure. As far as whether or not I like this particular move, yes, I like it, and I'm really trying not to be like the homer when I say this. I understand all the arguments for why Jason Licht has not earned it going forward. I don't agree with them.
Like a 27-53 record?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, for as much as we roll our eyes every time somebody talks about it, the whole Roberto Aguayo thing was just laughable. Absolutely laughable.
Yeah, that blew up in his face.
It absolutely did. And he's taken his stripes for it. He's taken his what do you call that?
Lumps.
Medicine? He's taken his lumps. Yeah. He's he's done what he's had to do. He's had to go back. But I mean, so much of this I really think depends on coaching. And, I have said this offseason, I wonder how much of Jason Light's drafting and what he's been doing has really been for this type of defense. Like, he would try to set something up, and then the coaching staff would just like really shit the bed with the team, So it's I get where people's ire is coming from, but at the same time, does he deserve a 5-year extension? Well, I think people are getting too caught up in the length of time. Like, if he had just gotten a 1 or 2 year extension, even the people that kind of lost their minds would kind of be like, okay, fine. Let's see what happens. They go, oh, it's a 5-year extension. He's going to be here. Look, the Glazers have no problem paying somebody
for not working
for a few years. They have no problem. If Jason Licht, if we
do it a lot.
Yeah. If this team tanks this year, first of all, I don't see, even if this team goes really bad, I don't see Jason Licht taking the fall. I just don't. I think he's part of the package deal with BA. As long as BA is here, Jason Light's going to be here. So it would have to go that bad.
Yeah. This length of contract, and even maybe the contract itself, you could classify it as really the trust that the Glazers have in BA more than Jason Licht got that contract because of the trust the Glazers have in him. BA pretty much almost said it, in his presser. When the news broke, and I guess it was Monday because the news broke Saturday. They had their first presser on Monday. He's like, oh, I'm surprised it took so long. He's like, yeah, he's the reason I'm here. I trust him, and all that good stuff. I work with him. I trust him. So he pretty much just said that. Yeah, like if it wasn't for Jason, like I wouldn't be here, and it might have been one of the things that BA asked for. And the Glazers, now you have this argument about the Glazers, like are a quote unquote crappy ownership group. I mean, they've given BA everything he's asked for. He's got a ginormous coaching staff. He's got a huge science staff now. Right. I was talking to Carmen Vitale. It's just not 1 or 2 people. Like there's 4, 5, 6, 7 people in the science department now. Yeah. So
and all the players, at least the marquee players, are all wearing those like men bras. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, those tracking devices.
Yeah, but they're tracking devices. That I've seen lots of people ask like, "Oh, why is everybody wearing a bra?" Guys, it's not a bra. Yeah. That's what they're using to track everything with their health.
So they are all huge Brandi Chastain fans.
I don't
really.
Yeah, I have no idea who Brandi Chastain is.
When the U.S. won the World Cup, U.S. women's soccer won the World Cup, and it went to goal kicks against China. And she kicked it in and ripped her shirt off. And she had the black sports bra underneath.
Oh, did she? Oh, okay. Interesting. There you go. See, I am a Buccaneers fan. I don't follow other football teams, and that includes the other football teams. So that other weird football sport.
I only follow one football team, and it's the Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers.
Yeah,
but, listen, the whole Light thing makes sense to me. And if it doesn't work out, they'll fire him and they'll get somebody else. But let me tell you what, if it doesn't work out, this whole franchise is blowing up yet again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
scouting department,
exactly,
front office,
Yeah.
Every person, everything, starting training staff, it's just everybody. Yeah. Ticket sales, they're all out.
Yeah. Right. Brian Ford's gone. He's no longer going to come through the stands thanking people for coming anymore. Like the whole thing is done if that winds up. So I'm not worried about the length. I think he's done an okay job, and I think this year is. You said this year. I'm willing to maybe say give it at least till next year to really see what happens.
I'm not saying about the record. I'm saying about players versus coaches type of deal. If this coaching staff can't get out of these guys like Vernon and Rojo and Spence and Davis and Justin Evans, he ever comes back, all these guys that we're kind of like, I like to pick at the time, but you got to start showing me something. Kappa, all these guys that have, it's been a while since Jason Light sort of got a home run. He's got O.J. Howard,
right,
and he's got Mike Evans. Who else has he got?
Right. I mean, Vita's still a question mark. Allie's definitely a home run for sure.
But Vita hasn't done anything to hurt himself. Like, he hasn't had a bad year, unlike the other guys who have had questionable years at best,
Right.
It's hard.
Well, Vita's thing right now is he hasn't had a healthy preseason yet.
Yeah.
Like, that's his big knock. He's not had a healthy preseason yet. Okay, well, fine. I mean, whatever.
He just hadn't played enough games to make a decision on him.
Exactly. He's barely past a rookie at this point.
But let me ask you this.
Okay.
If you were on the TV show Survivor.
Okay.
And you get on the beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look around and you see Jason Light on the beach with you as another contestant.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't you just go home at this time? Because the guy's had one winning season. I said earlier, he's like 27. He's like 27 and 53.
Right.
He's on his third head coach.
Uh-huh.
And he just got signed to a 5-year extension.
Right.
The guy, he's the equivalent of a cockroach as far as GMs are concerned.
And when the lights come on, he scatters because you don't see this guy.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I don't want to play Survivor with him. Like, I'll just oh well. Like, I'm done. Like, even before the boat leaves, like,
right.
Sorry, I've changed my mind.
Right. I don't know. It's I'm trying to stop myself from saying inappropriate jokes right now, so I will just end this.
All right.
No, I'll keep playing the game with him. I'll go toe to toe, but you're right. The guy comes back, and he probably has those. What do they have in Survivor? The life pass or something.
Oh, I don't know.
Don't they get something like that? Like they get.
I haven't watched that thing since like season 2.
Yeah, and
I think it's in like season 30 now.
It's something like they have like 3 a year or something like that.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, but look, I think at the end of the day, some people are making a much bigger deal out of Jason Light getting a new contract than it really is. It's a stupid duh to me. Like, of course he got this contract, and if it doesn't work out, it's really not going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like,
don't fret.
Yeah.
Don't fret. When BA goes, Jason will go, or vice versa.
Right.
Hopefully it's in 5 years.
Uh-huh.
It's probably not. The ideal.
I mean, unless the Bucks are doing well and BA actually retires again.
Yeah.
And Jason Light sticks around after that.
That's the best case scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think there's any way in hell BA coaches for 5
And
years.
then you got Jason Light with the same organization on who by that point, Ren. So we're currently what'd you say in his tenure? We're 27 and 50 something.
27 and 53.
Okay, so even if we go, let's say we win 10 games each over the next 2 seasons.
Okay.
Right. So it's going to give us an additional 20 wins.
That's 47
and an additional 12 losses.
And 65.
Okay, so 47 and 65. But if we go 10-6 over the next 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Plus make a pretty deep playoff run.
Well, those counts as wins.
Sure. Okay, so we're still in the.
We'll say 70 wins. Give them 3 wins in those next in the playoffs.
Okay, so now we're at 50, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at 50 wins to about 60 losses. We're still not quite to the 500 mark. Let's say BA retires. He goes, okay, 2 years, he's out. Just health, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles steps up, or whomever the next coach is. I'm not even going to speculate who that would be. Jason Light is now on his 4th head coach.
Yeah.
With the organization, and he shouldn't be fired at that point.
And still has 2 years left on his contract.
Yes. Okay, so I do have one question before we move off of this subject that I did want to talk to you about and get your take on. And it really just keying on one of the comments about it, one of the reasonings of it that Joel Glazer or Brian Glazer, whoever put out the statement, they mentioned the idea of continuity and this thing of not switching things over every time you turn around. Right. Now, they cited that when they brought back Dirk Cutter. I think they cited that actually when they hired Dirk Cutter. That was going to be a thing. Right. They cited it when they brought back Dirk Cutter for year 3, even though it didn't work out. They have now cited it again for keeping Jason Light around despite a 27 and 40-something 53 record right now of keep the continuity, stay within this continuity. And we have often talked about it, especially at the head coaching position. You can't have anything if you don't have continuity. You have to tough out these years, right?
Right.
Is that a valid argument, or is that just Glazer blowing smoke up fans' asses?
I think it is value argument because let me ask you this question. Okay, I know you're not a draft guy, but next year's draft, looking at the team now, what do we need?
O-line help again. I would say it's still a big deal. Potentially,
but you got one young guy. You got a center who I think will have no guaranteed money next year, and you got your other two guys locked up.
Right, but we're probably going to need a right tackle here sometime real soon.
For sure.
Potentially a left tackle, because Donovan has not had a good preseason so far.
Overblown.
But we'll see what happens.
It's overblown.
But we'll see what happens, and we'll talk about that, right? I'm sure that's one of our other topics to maybe talk about. Or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see where that conversation leads.
So offensive line.
Yeah, so I think offensive line.
Specifically, we need a right tackle.
Specifically a right tackle, potentially some other depth pieces.
Yeah. You don't get depth pieces in a draft. So right tackle.
Right. Defensive line, I think, will still be a thing because isn't Sue like a lot of those guys? They're all 1-year contracts.
Sue and Golston will both not be under contract after this year.
Right. So defensive line help for sure. You've got to believe that our secondary on defensive line on the defensive side of the ball is going to be set for a while. At least you hope.
They're young enough.
Yeah. The linebacker position, I mean, Levante David's getting up there.
Yeah.
So maybe a replacement for him and maybe some upgrades on some of those other sides. But I mean, on offense, like our tight end seems set. Running back, maybe we eventually get a running back out of that.
Yeah.
That draft
but not
possibly.
But not a high draft guy.
Yeah.
I mean, would you feel okay like going into next year with Jones and Ogunbowale?
Depending on how this year goes, yeah. I mean, based on everything we have seen so far,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So really look at it like, okay, so we definitely need a right tackle.
Right.
Okay. Maybe a center. Depends on how Jetson plays this year. We need some interior line depth. Some of the guys on the outside, like I think Nassib, his last year as a contract, so he's playing for a contract.
Right.
And then eventually someone to replace Levante David, which may be on the team already with Bond or Sitchy or one of those guys. So
and the only thing that gives me pause with those guys, Levante is always a 1, right? Like when you talk about the 1s and the 2s.
Oh yeah.
Right. Levante is always up there. You just referenced Bond and Sitchy and those guys. Like those guys have been on the team. I mean, Sitchy's in his sophomore year, fine, but Bond's been around for a while, and they have been in that bottom tier. So I would not look for them to move up. Like we'd be looking for another, maybe not quite Devin White, but some other high caliber player. I would think we'd be looking.
Okay, I really don't have Bond. I don't really have a problem with Bond playing next to David. If push came to shove, that type of deal. You can't have an all-pro at every position. Just is not going to happen.
Right.
So let's look at that. So we need a little interior line help, exterior line. If we don't sign guys, and a left tackle.
Right.
Maybe some backup, or maybe a replacement for Levante David eventually.
Right.
Okay. We got 7 picks next year.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I don't know. We might have more. We might have less. But there's 7 rounds. So you're looking at this team, and yes, the line depth is scary. Yes, the interior line depth isn't exactly where it is. But then you look forward to next year's draft, and it's like, okay, well, we can get all those guys.
Right.
And then we're not even talking about free agency yet.
Right.
So do you think like there's so many holes on this team now?
No, see, and that goes back to what I was saying a bit ago of Jason Licht has completely turned over this roster, and he has he has assembled a lot of talent in Tampa Bay, at least on paper.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It hasn't translated to wins yet on the field, but at some point, I mean, do we look back at the coaching staff at that? Is it, I mean, the coaches aren't out there throwing the ball. The coaches aren't the ones out there catching or dropping passes. The coaches aren't out there letting people, get by them when they should be on their blocks. But the coaches also aren't inspiring those guys to do it. At least the previous coaching staffs.
Yeah, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I think the Bucks are in the playoff hunt late or make the playoffs this year, I think that Jason Light's done a great job. And then, like I said, looking forward, there's not that many holes to plug up.
Right.
So it's all doable. It's like you said, like tight ends are great. Quarterback, we like the quarterback. I know we can go back and forth with people on it. Okay, no big deal. Running backs, I think, are fine. We got some pieces in the interior defensive line. We got some pieces on the exterior defensive line. We got some pieces at the linebacker. And the secondary and the safeties are just going to shake out just by the sheer number of high draft capital that's back there.
Right.
Like 5 of those 19 guys have got to pan out.
Right. Exactly. So, those guys should all, that should be fine. So, yeah, I think Jason Licht has certainly done enough to deserve the contract.
And we got a kicker.
And we got a kicker out of it. And he did it again. And I got to tell you, I mean, that goes to show a lot of balls to go through what you went through with Roberto Aguayo and to turn around and still pick yet another kicker. Now, certainly he didn't trade up into a second round to do that. What was Gay, a fifth round pick this year? That's a decent round to pick up somebody as a kicker.
Day 3 are special. That's when you go after your specialist, day 3.
Yeah. So, that's going to be fine. And it looks like Gay's going to work out. So, yay. And, I'm not ready to call him my Lord and Savior of the Buccaneers yet, but.
No. I've been thinking about this like today. Like, what's Gay going to have to do for me not to worry about a field goal? And it's going to take some time.
Yeah. He's going to have to miss a bunch of them.
You mean make a bunch of them? For you not to worry?
Oh.
Like when he comes out for a 32-yarder or like a 45-yarder, which is, pretty much automatic for the higher-end kickers in the NFL.
See, oh, really? Are you worried about that? Because I'm not.
Oh, you're already like he's going to make it no matter what.
No, but I think he'll get in the 87 or higher percentile.
This where I'm at. I'm going to give him one miss in a game-winning or tying field goal his whole entire rookie contract. And if he only misses one, then my fears will finally be subsided of I'm not worrying about him. Like, I know he's going to pull through way more than he does. Okay. It's going to take like 4 years for me to get over this.
See, I don't know. I'm on the other side of that. I've seen enough out of Mac, and you've seen more of him than I have. But from what I've seen from the time that I've been at training camp and what I've seen in the game so far in this past game, I really don't have many worries about the kicker situation. This may not be what's that guy, Steven Gostkowski?
Gradkowski.
Yeah, what he's been kicking for like 47 years in the NFL.
No.
Something like who I'm talking about, right?
Gradkowski for the Patriots.
Yeah. That guy. I mean, he's I'm not saying that Matt Gay is that guy just yet. He could be.
Yeah, he's got all the potential, but I mean, so did Aguayo. You know what I mean? And he's
hashtag I'm with 19.
Yeah, but right. That didn't work. I mean, he's looked way more consistent. I mean, way more consistent in training camp than Aguayo ever looked. It's just, it's just having been, I feel like I've been burnt, since Matt Bryant left, and
sure.
We just can't find anybody, and they look great for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then when the pressure's on, they shank one, and then they shank another, and then 2 weeks later they miss 2 extra points, and we lose by a point. It's just, and then next year we got to find somebody else.
I'll tell you. Okay, so maybe I'll put it on the other side. I'll tell you when I'll start worrying again, because I'm not worried about it right now.
After his first miss.
After his second miss. Right, and of course it depends on how long it's been between the first and the second miss.
Yeah,
and it depends on the situation that the kick is in. But it's really going to be.
How long does a first and second miss have to be apart for you not to worry?
Let's say 3 or 4 games.
Which one?
Huh?
Which one?
I'll go with 4 games, and in between there's also still significant kicks in between that he's made.
So he can miss for you. He can miss a kick every 4 games. That's within reason,
right.
Not like, so we'll say inside 50 yards.
Okay.
So he can miss one every 4 games. So you're saying he can miss 4 this year inside 50.
I did not say every 4 games. I said after the second kick is when I go, oh shit, maybe we've actually overestimated this guy. Or not come back.
Unless it's been 4 games.
Yeah, I see your Okay, let's put it this way. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
So basically you're giving him 4 misses inside 50 this year.
I think the time between kick 1 and kick 2, miss 1 and miss 2, that might be 4 games. But once he hits miss 2, the time between miss 2 and miss 3 is going to be like half that, or no, twice that.
So
it's going to double. You know what I mean?
6 games or 8 games.
Yeah. Like it will.
When he misses his third, you're done. You're like, okay, that's enough.
If he comes out and within 4 games misses a third, I'm like, come on, guy. But if it goes out to like 6 games or maybe even 8 games and then he misses another one, fine. That's not going to worry me a bunch.
Because like you said, I've seen him a lot in practice, and I've seen him shank them.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Bob Uecker just a bit outside, like look out people in the stands, like shank them.
Right.
So, I mean...
But I'll tell you what I will do, though. As long as he's wearing pewter and red,
Yeah.
I'm going to cheer for him. And
Okay.
I'm going to support him. And hashtag whatever Matt Gay's number is. Like...
What is he, 6 or 9?
I think he's 9. No, 9 is Pin. No, 8's Pinion.
5?
4? No,
3.
or 2-1. Yeah, I don't care.
He's 3.
He's 3. Yes. Hashtag I'm with 3. But for that whole thing, I'm not overly worried about the kicking situation at this point.
All right.
Can we move on?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
I would love to move on. Now, with that, so there's Jason Light's contract. Somehow we got to talking about the kicker situation. That wasn't even on the book.
Said Jason Light found a kicker.
Oh, there you go. Transitions. But we had a game. We had a preseason game, and we mentioned earlier that perhaps
Did
some
you
more.
know, was that really a game?
Yeah.
Because after like the first 5 minutes, it was tough to watch until about the.
It was for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes were fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
most of the first, all of the second, all of the third, and most of the fourth were just.
Right. But aren't you at a spot now where once the ones get out of the game, like you don't care much anymore?
No.
No.
No, I'm still trying to flesh out the 53.
Well, yeah. I mean,
final 53-man roster.
Oh, don't go there. Do not go there. All right, Ren, let me tell you why it doesn't need to be the final 53 roster.
No.
Okay, never mind. For more on that, see our last 2 episodes.
Keyword search final 53, and about 19 pods will pop up.
But there was definitely some things that came out of that as we're looking to set the 53-man roster,
Yes.
which BA has said at least twice now, hey, if the cuts were tomorrow, I could do really well. Or he said after the game, those guys are lucky the cuts aren't right now because I'd be cutting a lot of their asses.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, hey, some of them made me really proud and other ones, I just want to get them out of here. So Ren, I'll kind of toss this over to you.
Sure.
Who do you want to talk about first? You want to go to the QB spot, or you want to do something else?
Let's
start with the
QB
number one.
spot.
Yeah,
because BA came out. This we've talked a little bit about it here and there, but BA came out and basically said that it's going to be really hard, almost nearly impossible, for Ryan Griffin to unseat Blaine Gabbert as the number 2 quarterback. But I think BA's really opened his eyes. Ryan Griffin's ability to pick up an offense is
it's good.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
We saw it under Cutter. Remember 3 training camps ago, the first year where Fitzpatrick was with the team?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, if you took the nameplate off the guys and threw out their draft order or where they were picked or how much money they were making, Ryan Griffin was the best. He looked the best at training camp, hands down. Mm-hmm. Hands down. So,
and just to clarify, you're including Jameis Winston in that group.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That first year, Ryan Fitzpatrick, oh, my God. He was awful.
Oh, yeah.
He was awful.
Right.
If he got a spiral on the ball, that was a good throw. Don't even worry about if somebody caught it or was in the right direction.
Right.
Or
that was the year that Fitzpatrick tried to retire and they talked him into coming back for one more year, and he really didn't want to play.
No.
Yes, that's exactly what he talked. Then
that was the first year.
Yeah, and then he talks about how he got in, Jameis got injured or something that year, and he got in, and he was I suddenly remembered how much fun I have playing this game, and he fell in love with it again.
Yeah, let's just throw the ball over the yard.
Yeah.
Damn the consequences.
Right. So, but anyway. But we have a hot quarterback battle now happening, and it has nothing to do with the QB1 spot.
Do we have a hot quarterback battle?
I think we do.
Because if Gabbert wasn't, BA's guy, it's not a battle at all.
Right.
I mean, Gabbert looked awful that game.
Right.
Awful.
But keep in mind, BA also knows or thinks he knows what Gabbert is capable of, or what Gabbert brings to the team beyond just being a backup in a case of a situation where the quarterback goes down. He knows what else Gabbert can add to the team. Right?
Yeah, but this is going to be BA is one of those guys that whoever outplays whoever, and that's who's going to be on the field. Mm-hmm. Well, that's all fine and dandy when you're talking about your starters.
Right.
But when you start talking about the bottom of the roster and the bubble players, it's really hard to cut somebody when you've seen what they can do in the past and you know them and you trust them, and cut that person in favor of someone who you don't know as well but has hands down outplayed him during training camp. This is so where the rubber meets the road for BA and all his bluster and all his talk.
Right.
Is this Gabbert, Griffin decision, unless he keeps both.
And I think he will. I think we will have yet another year of RG4 on the roster, probably in the third quarterback spot. That would be my guess. That's my prediction of what's going to happen. I think we're going to have all three of them on the roster.
I haven't even looked at a 53-man roster, and with the guys that I like or who I think should make the team, I don't know if that QB spot becomes a problem, or I can easily slide 3 QBs in or not. But so, sort of in that same vein, we could talk about the running back position, because there's another guy there that was brought in that BA trusts, that BA knows, and, was brought in to sort of put some stability in that room, in the running back room. That's Andre Ellington. But the way Ogunbowale has been playing, Ellington shouldn't be on the team.
I agree.
So
I agree.
If we agree that he's RB3, Dare, I'm not going to attempt it a second time. I got it right the first time. If
Dare's fine.
Yeah, if Dare's 3, then do we just run with 3, or do you think Ellington's done enough to make the team, or is it going to be something where BA finds a spot for him because he's a guy he knows he can trust?
I think that's probably the most likely situation. We'll run with 4.
Okay.
And BA will find a spot for Ellington because he's a guy that he knows he trusts. We have, let's remember, for a while we only ran with 3 running backs on the roster. Only 2 were active on game day for a long time. And then I think it was under Lovey, maybe Cutter, but it was under one of those 2. We upped it and we were running with 4. And that includes running with 3 quarterbacks on the roster. And we had all 4 active on game day for a while. And sometimes we had 3 active on game day. So to be in a situation now where we would still have 4 on the active roster and all 4 would be active, let's say Dare is on the active roster. He could easily be in one of the 7 inactives from week to week. Or Ellington could,
But then if Ellington, then why keep him? You can't find somebody better than Ellington on the street at running back.
Right. Well, so here's my question.
Dare's not going to be being active because he's going to play special teams.
And you would hope he would. What's Ellington bring to special teams?
I don't know. I've never noticed him out there.
Yeah, I think that's the question.
And he might have to start getting his butt out there to make this team.
Yeah.
He might have to go, hey, coach, can I
this would be a question I'd ask BA. Or I'd want to ask BA. Is Ellington moving into any kind of special teams roles? What's he going to have to do to maintain his spot on this team?
Yeah, and he'll shoot you a straight answer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But something BA did. Somebody did ask, and BA came out, and it's about Justin Watson.
Yeah.
Now I've been adamant that he's sort of locked stone cold into the number 4 spot, and someone pretty much just asked him that, Watson in the 4th spot, and BA said I wouldn't say that. But now what I know about BA and the way he answers questions and the way he motivates people, I'm not sure I believe him,
Okay.
I think because when you say it that way, you can, at that moment, maybe he is the 4th guy, but he's saying that his play has enough holes in it because he's had some drops, not in practice, but when it counts in preseason games, that his play is shaky enough where someone can overtake him. But if the question was phrased is Justin Watson number 4 wide receiver today on the depth chart, I think his answer would be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. I have nothing to add. No, it's,
No. Well, how do you think Bobo? Because people are talking about Bobo Wilson. I thought he had a bad game against Miami. I thought he had a couple drops and, didn't do much in the return game, if anything.
Yeah. I think Bobo has probably solidified himself as a special teamer.
Okay.
I do. I think that's the spot where they're going to keep him. And, all the other stuff doesn't matter because they're going to have him as, for whatever reason, they've got Rojo out returning kicks. I don't know why. It's going to be Bobo Wilson. Just put Bobo out there. Stop screwing around with Rojo. Let Bobo go out and do it because that's going to be the spot that he has on this team.
Yeah, I just finally tweeted it out, I guess a week and a half ago. I don't like Rojo returning kicks.
Yeah.
And did you see him hyperextend his knee?
Yeah. I saw the screenshot where they paused it and his knee was backwards. It was like a giraffe knee.
That happened the first play of the game.
Yeah.
And he did go in and still run some, but guess what?
Didn't look great.
Well, he hasn't practiced the past
And he hasn't practiced, yeah.
You know why?
Because his knee's jacked up.
Yeah, because his knee's jacked up. So, far be it from me to and this is sort of the fine line we walked, and, I might have drank the Kool-Aid with the last coaching regime and thought about it too much that, far be it for me to question what Dirk Cutter has to say. The guy's been coaching football since, before I was born.
Right.
So, what do I know? So, but I think this is one of those spots where it's just a dumb idea. Like the explosive ratio that you get from the drop off from Rojo to the next guy on the kickoff return is not worth the drop off you're going to get from Rojo to the next guy in the backfield. And, if Peyton Barber plays his way out of Tampa, which a lot of people think he is, including myself, because they're not going to be able to afford him next year. BA's got on record saying, I don't like paying a lot of money for that position. Well, then Rojo's your guy next year. He's your running game. He's the future running game. What's he doing back there?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, how about this, Brent? O-line depth. The past two preseason games when the starters went out, and they've looked fine, average, maybe a little bit above average individually, maybe a little bit below average individually. But once the starters are out, it's not good.
Right.
So, I mean,
well,
are there some guys that are salvageable?
Well, can I talk about a starter real quick?
Oh, yeah.
It is our left tackle, our guy that we just signed to a 2-year, 3-year deal. A lot of money. You and I went out and defended the decision, and I will continue to defend the decision to bring him back.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be a matter of how he plays this year.
Right.
Right. I mean, we gave him a 2-year prove it deal as opposed to a 1-year prove it deal.
Who are we talking?
We're talking about Donovan Smith.
There you go.
I'll be honest, in the games, I haven't noticed much bad with him, but on the replays and on the screen grabs that people give where they highlight him, there's been a couple of times, a handful of plays where I'm like, ooh, that's really not good.
Okay. Let me ask.
Sure.
Let me ask. Was it the one where he slipped? Is that one of them?
The one like where he in the was it
where he falls down?
Yeah, I mean there was one where there was one I think where he fell down. There was one where he just gets trucked by Devin Bush.
Oh yeah, okay,
from the first game.
Okay.
But he also when he went down, I'm almost positive you saw him grab Devin Bush and pull him down, and Rojo or Peyton Barber hurdled Devin Bush. So it still it didn't blow up the play.
It's a win for me.
Right. So
it is. I mean,
but this is why I want to talk about it, because there have been those plays that people will see and go, "Oh my gosh, why did we resign this guy? We should have done something about it."
Right.
And my question is not why didn't we do something about it? My question is, what is this? Obviously we got to get in the season and see what happens throughout the rest of the season, right? But what is this? Is this boding well for Donovan Smith moving forward?
Look, I watched Donovan Smith in all those practices.
Okay.
And I really don't remember him getting beat. It was rare. Once again, you can't bull rush the guy. He's one of those kind of freaky strong guys.
Right.
You can't move him. And once again, it seemed you've seen him get into trouble this year when people try to beat him to the outside. And his favorite move is just sort of take the guy and just ride him past where Jameis is supposed to be.
Right.
Now, one of those clips that are coming out that his guy got the sack, but on the other end, Dotson blocked down and the back went out in the flat and 55 came free.
Right.
So Jameis was about 7 yards further back than he was supposed to be, and Donovan rode the guy right into Jameis, but Donovan thinking that Jameis was supposed to be behind him.
Yeah.
Okay, and Donovan's guy gets the sack because Jameis made the first guy miss, and everyone blames Donovan Smith. Now, there's another one, which is the exact same thing that happened to Dot on that side. Donovan did. He first looked inside. The guy from the end came straight on, ended up getting a sack, and it was oh, no, he didn't. That's Jameis got rid of it in time. But the guy was just basically a free runner but people show that. It happens to Dot, and everyone blames Donovan. It happens to Donovan, and everyone blames Donovan. And what Bruce Arians said was, we put in some new protections, and it was a miscommunication. And they both did it. Those are very fixable. The slip, fixable. Did he get knocked over by a linebacker? It's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. Did the linebacker make the tackle?
No.
No,
he didn't. Yeah. No, he didn't. You're right.
When Donovan slipped, did that guy that he slipped in front, did he make a sack or make the tackle? No.
Right.
Then what the fuck's the problem?
Fair enough. So just to recap what you're saying there, these few clips that we have seen out of Donovan, it's not something to really freak out about for Bucs fans. It's not, hey, I told you so, Donovan's no good. It's. Yeah,
Yeah, he's not getting beat.
Yeah.
One time he slipped, and the guy never even really got past him. Yeah, he's on the ground, and the guy is, but he's still between Jameis and it doesn't look good, of course. But the guy was inconsequential to the play. One time they had a mix up on the who was supposed to pick up who, and the other one where the guy got the sack, he ran the guy, and James is supposed to be 5 to 7 yards closer into the pocket. So I mean, it's to the point where it's like how I feel about Caleb Benenoch. Like Caleb Benenoch cannot do anything right for me. It does. Like if Caleb Benenoch would have had those exact same plays that I saw Donovan Smith do, I would be all in Caleb's crap.
Right.
I would be. You know why? Because I don't like Caleb Benenoch.
Right. And he can't do anything right.
Yeah. And if you're in Donovan Smith crap about what you've seen, you're pissed off about him. You're pissed off about his contract. You're pissed off that he hasn't, played up to his potential. You just don't like.
You're pissed off that Jason Light got an extension for signing this guy.
Yeah. So and that's where it's at. But like you said, it is a we will see. It definitely is a we will see for him. It's because now he's got the coaching. At least he has the amount of coaching. You can get all the one-on-one. Somebody needs to ask BA about Donovan Smith and listen for his little quip.
Yeah, they do. And I think it's important to remember this is only Donovan's second coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
And before that was Warhop, which was just not okay. So, all right. So you were talking about the depth, though. We weren't talking about Donovan Smith. You're talking about the depth there. How are we feeling about the depth across the O-line?
Not good.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all. I mean, again, I kind of in the same situation as Donovan Smith. I saw Boozer get his butt handed to him a few times in just this past game.
Boozer has not been impressive at all.
No.
Even in camp.
And he's kind of replaced that Leonard Wester. We let Leonard Wester go. I'm not sure where he went. I saw your tweet about that earlier.
I never thought that was going to affect me as much until after that Miami game. I'm like, oh God, where are you, Leonard Wester?
Yeah.
I think he went to Tennessee.
Is that where he went? Yeah.
I think he's going to Tennessee.
I mean, Wester, for people out there who may not track or know as close, Leonard Wester was the backup tackle in Tampa for the last 2 seasons, maybe 3.
Yeah.
He was good as a backup.
He was an undrafted free agent that Light identified, paid extra money to make sure he came to the Bucs.
Right.
And they have really slowly been developing him because of Warhop. But he has, he started out on barely making the team or on the practice squad year 1. Then year 2, he was sort of the second tackle or maybe the third tackle, depending on how you want to see it, off the bench. And last year he was the next tackle.
He was the guy. Yeah.
He was the guy. And now he's gone. And I really would like to have him right now.
Right. Yeah. So, you've got Cole Boozer. I couldn't even tell you who we have backing up in the guard position where we got Watford or Bailey didn't look impressive. I was all excited about this Bailey kid.
Yeah.
And he's not been anything special.
No, he did get robbed on that penalty. It wasn't a penalty, but but he hasn't, no one has.
Yeah.
Past the starters, it's barely serviceable.
Well, the only one that I feel like I might be okay with is this Laribas guy, Laribas.
Yeah.
And he's the backup center. He's the backup center and can flip over to guard. I feel like he might be okay. But I don't feel like I've seen enough out of him to really. I haven't focused on him enough. And then Caleb Benenoch, man, I'm in the same boat with you. There's almost nothing he can do that's right because it's so glaring.
Yeah, you have warped me so bad because of last year.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to come to my house and bring me Publix fried chicken.
Feed your cat.
No, you don't.
Clean the litter box.
No. Just sit down and have a conversation with me at the kitchen table about what's going on, and we're gonna have to break down every play from last year.
And you're gonna have to apologize for everyone.
Everyone. Yes. So, and then you're gonna have to give me $20 and then leave, and then I'll give you a fresh, clean slate.
Yeah.
But here's where I am on the O-line depth. This is how worried I am about it. Okay. I'm actually playing with in my head trading Cameron Brate.
Okay.
Because if we trade Cameron Brate, I would like to find someone that can replace Dotson.
Okay.
And have Dotson the backup. I just don't think Tanner Hudson has the gravitas to be able to get a sort of a veteran or an up and coming backup tackle or even interior guy.
Mm-hmm.
We need backup interior, we need backup tackles, but tackles of course are harder to find, and I would like to do that. So I think Cameron Brate's the only one who's got the gravitas or to be able to get and what we're gonna have to find is a guy that's a vet That's a tackle that has a younger guy behind him that's pushing him, and the team just wants to move on for salary cap reason. And then they also need a tight end.
Right, but
So
that salary cap reason is going to be $7 million or less.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they just want to move on because they think it's a better option. We need a Logan Mankins is what we need.
Right.
That's what we need. We need a Logan Mankins, but it's a tackle for him. Now, teams that desperately need tight ends. Jacksonville, the Raiders, Arizona, the Texans.
I hear what you're saying, and as a player, Brait certainly has the as you say, the gravitas to do some of those things. He's just coming with a high price tag that another team's going to have to absorb.
Right.
But if that team I think it's after this year, all his guaranteed money goes away. No. Yeah. After this year, all his guaranteed money goes away. So, it's after last year. He doesn't have guaranteed money anymore. So he's on a year-by-year basis right now as it is. I mean.
And I wouldn't be mad about Tanner Hudson. Yeah, he can't block. Well, guess what? O.J. Howard and O'Clair can.
Right.
And you know who else can't block?
Cam Brait.
Yeah, there you go.
I am not opposed to, somebody put it out on Twitter and they listened to the Pewtercast, and thank you to whomever this was. Everybody's got a price. I like Cam Brait. I like having him on this team, but if he brings value to something else that can help us out in another spot, Cameron Brait is certainly a luxury at this point, I would think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I do know what you mean. Yes. I think you mean that he's a luxury.
Yeah, he's a luxury.
At this point.
At this point, yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Okay, then yes, I do know what you mean.
Yes, that's you nailed it, Ren. Nailed it.
I listen.
Yes, but I do like Cameron Brait on this team. If we were to lose him, then I would expect something big back.
Like a starting left tackle.
That'd be awesome. If Light could swing that'd be awesome. I don't think that's what we'd get,
but in his mid to late 20s
for about $3 million.
Yeah, and have like 1 or 2 years left on his contract
on a rookie contract. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if anybody's going to give up a rookie.
No. But you get but a Tanner. You mentioned Tanner Hudson, that he doesn't have the gravitas. What would Tanner Hudson fetch in a trade right now? 6th round pick, max?
I don't think anything. I don't know. I really don't think. I mean, it's a nice story and all, but really the kid cannot block.
Right. And he's an undrafted free agent who has bounced around on practice squad for the last couple of years, has proved nothing in a regular season game.
Yeah.
That's who he is. And I say that not to pour water on people's party or whatever, but like I hear a lot of people singing Tanner Hudson's praises.
Oh,
and you yourself, I mean, you've been a big Tanner Hudson guy this year, Ren.
Yeah, but I'm still like he's tight end 4 or he doesn't make the team.
Yeah.
I'm not, hey, he's pushing O'Clair.
Right.
Like, the only reason I'm even mentioning the Brait thing is because the desperate need for backup offensive linemen and good ones. And you got to give something up to get something.
Right.
And like you said, Brait's a luxury. And you know who else was a guy that got open and catch the ball, but, wasn't a very good blocker, but has never really played an NFL game?
Who's that?
You know who else was that guy?
Who's that?
Cam Brait.
There you go. I like it.
I interrupted you.
No. Who else on the team is a tradable asset in a spot where we have a little bit extra?
Could say a corner, safety. Maybe
a wide receiver.
No.
Maybe a low wide receiver. No.
Wide receivers are too much dime a dozen.
Okay.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
Have to be like a corner or a safety, a defensive back. No one's gonna take.
Yeah. No, I'm not trading for Nacho. We're not trading for Sitchy or Bond.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
You know what I
mean? Those guys. We're not gonna trade White or David.
Right.
You're not.
Exactly.
And if you feel good enough about Dean or Bunting, like maybe you could trade Vernon or you could trade one of the DeGraves.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's happening either.
No, neither do I.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm just trying to figure out who could fetch that type of, that type of like a starting left tackle.
Yeah.
Or starting center.
Right.
That could bring somebody in that could be a plug and play and be, an above average player there without being ridiculous. Because obviously we're not going to trade Evans or Jameis or OJ Howard or, maybe
Chris
Barber.
Godwin.
Yeah, could
Godwin be on the trade block?
No.
That'd be the only next person I could see.
No way.
I mean, Cam Brate, it would certainly be at the top of the trade block, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Chris Godwin is or should be. I'm just saying if you had to pick a second person who could potentially be on a trade block that would fetch of anything of value, I think our next person is going to be Chris Godwin.
No, I would pick Whitehead or Evans.
You think that? See, I don't know that those guys would fetch much.
Well, the only reason, okay, well, let's make Jameis 2 then. What I'm saying, the reason Godwin's not 2 is because there's no way they're trading him.
No,
he's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
He's not going anywhere.
Right.
Brate, you can make an argument for. You can go, okay, well, we already got OJ. Like,
you're absolutely right.
You're
absolutely right.
For me, it's like Brate or somebody in the defensive backfield. That's the only place that we have the depth where it wouldn't kill us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, maybe
I just don't think we
Barber.
have anyone in the defensive backfield that's gonna get us what we need. Is all I'm saying.
Hey man, people, if you need a DB, brother, it's like of course.
God, I don't know. 49ers paid an injured Quan Alexander $56 million.
Yep, and they're gonna regret that very
Yes,
soon.
they are. No offense to Quan, but I mean, damn.
Yeah, the hot boys, whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that means. All right, man. Let's get back on track here.
Yeah.
As far as the defense is concerned, there's only a couple things that I kind of really wanted to talk about after that Miami game. One was how these linebackers are going to be stars. Like it doesn't matter who's playing the interior linebacker position or even the outside linebacker position. Like this defense is going to run through them. And whoever those 4 guys are on the field or 3 guys, like, those are the guys that are going to make these plays like drive after drive after drive. Of course, V is going to get his and Sue's going to get his and the safeties and the corners are going to get their plays. But as far as like consistently every time the other team has the ball, if a big play happens, I think 7 out of 10 times is going to come from a linebacker.
Yeah, and don't forget Deion Buchanan, whatever that is.
He's a linebacker.
There you go. I once again, Ren, I can't add anything to that because I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Devin White is every bit the star that he's been sold.
Well, I don't know.
You don't know?
I mean, I'm not worried about it. I just haven't seen it yet in a preseason game, and I've seen it in practice, so I'm not worried.
Okay, and that's what I'm basing,
just
basing on everything we've seen so far.
Yeah, I've seen it in practice. Like, okay, but
right.
He's pretty much been invisible. But he's only been on the field for like 2 series?
Exactly.
So I'm not worried about it. But it would be something I would like. It would make me feel a lot better if he showed up in the Cleveland game.
Right. Levante, Levante's hasn't he been injured for most of camp so far? Like, we haven't seen him really. So if we can get a healthy Levante, but okay, let's play it forward. Let's say Levante is just injured for most of the season, and you've got Devin White and the other guys, right?
Yeah.
Are we still good?
Buchanan.
Yeah. I mean, Minter had a good game. I think Buchanan had a good game. Like,
Sitchy had a good game.
Sitchy had a good game. Exactly. Bond had another good game.
What do you know? All the linebackers had good games.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're going to be the stars of this defense.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. It should be a lot of fun. So,
and the only last thing really I want to see out of this defense, during the preseason is I just want to know that I'm right about DeGraves. Like I want to see them go up like for 2 full quarters against another team's number ones and make some plays.
Well, they're going up against Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. if they play.
And Jarvis Landry
and
David Njoku.
Yeah.
And
so
Bradley Chubb.
It should be a good test, right?
Yeah.
This should be a good test.
Yeah. This is I hope this is like a high spirited, like bodies flying around, 2 teams trying to pose a will on each other. I think this could be a really fun to watch. At least the first half. Right.
Bucks Browns. You hearing it here first. Preview of the 2019 Super Bowl. Boom.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. That's my prediction right now. Bucks Browns in the Super Bowl 2019.
All right.
And this one will be a close game with the Bucks edging it out to take home the Lombardi Trophy.
Like what? Like 8-6 or?
No, it'll be in the 20s easy, if not 30s.
Give me a final score.
Final score will be 28-24. Bucks win.
All right. Are we going to come back or lead the whole way?
I think it'll be back and forth.
A back and forth?
It'll be a back and forth, yeah.
So Jameis is going to have a game-winning touchdown drive. It doesn't have to be last minute as the clock runs out.
Yes, but you know what Jameis will not have to do is score that same touchdown 4 times.
That's what Jameis won't have to do.
Since last time he played Cleveland.
Right.
The Bucs get a goal line stand like last time they played Cleveland.
Right.
And,
right.
And Matt Gay kicks what
63-yarder or whatever it was.
It was like 58.
Right. That was Santos, right?
No, that was Catanzaro.
Catanzaro. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. If he missed that, he was cut.
Like it kept his job for like one more week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now he's retired.
You're kicking for your career, son. Oh, by the way, if you miss it, we lose.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Did I not mention it's overtime?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So coming out of the game, certainly those depth pieces in those backup spots, like these things that I think even BA thought was set in stone. Mm-hmm. Are no longer set in stone. Who the backup quarterback's going to be. That running back 3 position with Ellington and Dare. Right. Maybe even that tight end 4 spot. Like, does Tanner Hudson really have it locked up? Is Cam Brate potential trading material? And I think he is. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen because of his salary cap more than anything else. But,
I don't think they move Cam Brate, and I don't think they want to move Cam Brate. I'm just saying that I want either, Dotson to be pushed back into a backup role.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a Gosder Sherless type situation.
Yeah, but I'd love to have Dot come off the bench. But that means I'm putting like in top 10 all-pro, or should I say Pro Bowl type right tackle.
Yeah.
But that's who I'm getting if I'm losing Cameron Brate.
Right. And so probably not losing Cam Brate is what we're saying. That whole conversation is, it's not really happening, is it?
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But I mean, yeah, you got Tanner Hudson. You've got that whole Watson, number 4 wide receiver, spot. We're not really sure. Or is he just blowing smoke up people's butts for what that looks like?
Well, we got Scooty Miller. Scooty's back. We'll see him.
Yeah.
In special teams and return game.
Right. So
it's Cleveland.
It should be fun. This Browns game certainly will be fun. Ren, what are we going to do this week without training camp to go to, buddy?
I'm going to sleep in.
There you go.
No, wait, I didn't have to sleep in before. What am I going to do? I don't know. I'll find something.
There you go. Well, Bucs fans, I think that's going to wrap up the show for today. I think that's pretty much exhausted all the things that we had to talk about. Coming up this week, may or may not have one more episode depending on what happens over the course of the rest of this week. However, kind of like last week with the Instant Cast where that didn't happen, that's not going to happen again this week. I'm actually going to be on the road again, traveling, more family stuff and things like that, trying to get this all out of the way before the season hits, Ren. August is getting crazy. So, but we will try to have something for you that is Instant Cast-ish, and hopefully I won't forget that bag again this week, so we'll be able to do that, Ren. But we'll have that, and certainly we'll have stuff coming out next week, for that. Hey, listen, PeterCast fans, stuff is starting to roll around here. So listen, be sending in your emails. We would love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. We had a great time last year with getting weekly emails to come in. We'd love to be able to hit that again and, be able to feature your thoughts and your ideas of what's happening. So send in your emails to thepewtercast@gmail.com. Would love to be able to hear that, or tweet us at thepewtercast on Twitter. Find us on Facebook as well at the PewterCast. Ren, if people want to get in touch with you about anything you've said tonight, where can they find you?
Have you sent out your invites to the BFC yet?
I have not. As soon as we sign off, that is my next order of business.
Okay. Best place to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football. As far as the RFC goes, I have gotten 10 of the 11 confirmations back. I'm just looking for Magar or Magarorer, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's that guy. So if you're listening, Magar, check your emails, get back to me so we can set the league up, and we'll be ready to roll.
Yep, and for all of you in the BFC, you will be getting those emails and stuff here very shortly, as it were. And as Ren just kind of mentioned, make sure that you respond to us. Let us know that you are still participating, because there are a few people that are waiting on the waiting list, to take spots for people who may drop out. So you want to make sure you do that. If you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Bruntown Live across all the social medias. Once again, the show at the PewterCast on Twitter and Facebook, thepewtercast@gmail.com for any emails you would like to send in. Ren, that's going to do it for us for this week, buddy. But like we said, we'll keep an eye out on what's happening out there in Buccaneers land, and we will be back with you to comment on anything that's happening as the season really ramps in to full gear mode. So until then, guys, we'll end the show as always. Go Bucs!